Hi traders, in this video I'm going to outline to you why there's a strong sell bias on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar currency pair. I'm going to outline a central bank divergence that's just opened up between the Reserve Bank of Australia and the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. There is a central bank divergence between the Reserve Bank of Australia and the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. Now let me explain to you what's going on. We can see here that the Australian dollar has been losing value against the New Zealand dollar. That's for a good reason, and we can reasonably anticipate that to continue. Let me explain why. The Reserve Bank of Australia have just released their minutes, and they are not expecting to raise interest rates until 2024 due to the economic conditions in Australia. Remember, Australia are also dealing with the Delta variant, which is spreading rapidly, and Westpac, one of the large investment banks, has decided that they anticipate the Reserve Bank of Australia actually increasing their bond purchases by 6 billion Australian dollars a week to support the economy. So it's quite a dovish outlook for Australia. New Zealand, by contrast, has had a pretty hawkish or optimistic outlook. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand met this month and they decided that they would cut their bond purchases completely in a surprise move that surprised the markets, and they are anticipating ending that on July the 23rd. Furthermore, the inflationary reading out of New Zealand last week was very, very strong. If we just take a look at the calendar, we can see, if we just go to a week basis, we can see it came late Thursday last week. We had the New Zealand inflation, and it came out very high, quarter on quarter at 1.3%. Now, the year-on-year reading, which isn't here but was released at the same time, came in at 3.3%, which was the largest reading in 19 quarters. And that means that the anticipation for Reserve Bank of New Zealand to raise interest rates rapidly increased, so much so that all four of the largest investment banks in New Zealand, Westpac, ANZ, Kiwi Bank, all decided that they are expecting the RBNZ to raise interest rates next month. So we can see here there's a big divergence between the RBA and the RBNZ. We can see here in the bond yield spread, if we just look at that on the daily chart, we can see the bond yield spread shows us that diverging outlook between the RBA and the RBNZ. So bond traders are expecting the Reserve Bank of New Zealand to raise interest rates before the Reserve Bank of Australia. This does give us a bias to the downside for the Australian dollar New Zealand dollar pair. Now, on the technicals, we can see that we've broken this tentative trend line. Any retracements back up to 1.0650, we would anticipate finding sellers looking to target a retest of that 1.0560, 1.0550 region down below.